Alright, in this video I'm going to show how to do toe adjustment on an ATV. This is a 2016 Yamaha Raptor, but this process would apply to basically any ATV and even four-wheel vehicles of any kind for that matter. But in any case, how we are going to go about this is we're going to be making some measurements. And the measurement for toe adjustment is basically from a fixed point on the right tire to a fixed point on the left tire, and then we're going to compare that to a fixed point on the back of the tire to a fixed point on the back of the other tire. And if the measurement in the front is greater than the measurement in the back, meaning the wheels are angled out like this, that is toe out. And that's actually what you don't want. You actually want a slight amount of toe in, meaning the measurement between the tires in the front is slightly less than the measurement of the tires from a fixed point to a fixed point in the back. Okay, so that means that ever so slightly that tire is angled in this way. Okay, so right now these tie rods are adjusted all the way in, which means that this is maximum toe out. And the reason you want these really close to being straight is because each wheel is going to want to drive in a straight path on the ground. And each wheel is in a different plane, meaning one's going one direction, one's going the other direction. They're going to be fighting each other, and that can create significant instability in the front end of your vehicle or your quad. So this is the recommendations from Lonestar Racing, and they recommend basically a 1/4 of an inch of toe in. See it there, 1/4 inch toe in. So that again means that measurement from a fixed point in the front of the tire to measurement of a fixed point in the other front tire is a 1/4 inch less in the front than it is in the back. All right, so here I'm going to show the specific process of measuring and adjusting toe. So I took a paint marker and just marked a standard distance. So I used 11 inches in the front and 11 inches in the back. Just has to be the same distance so that way it's equal. And you can mark there or go into the center of the tire. On different quads it could be a little bit easier in the middle or a little easier there depending upon how you're doing it. I actually did both just to make sure my measurements were accurate. And then use a tape measure and measure from there to there in the front. Do the same thing in the back. Like that. And with those two measurements, it should be 1/4 inch less in the front than it is in the back. So 1/4 inch less in the front than it is in the back. That gives you a 1/4 inch of toe in. Now some applications may call for a little bit different toe in, but in general it's in that ballpark. You do not want toe out, but just a little bit of toe in. So the actual way to adjust toe is to either shorten or lengthen the tie rod here. So you can see the tie rod there. It has this actual little flat part here that a wrench fits on, and then you can rotate it, make it shorter or longer. Now, when you think you're close, make sure your bars are straight, and then also measure from that point. I made a center point on here, and make sure that that distance is the same on both sides. That'll make sure that your your wheels are aligned with the straight handlebars. All right, so now that your toe adjustment is set and the bars are perfectly straight, and actually just use a reference point like these little vents here and just make sure that the bar mount or the bars line up with something like that. Just make sure they're nice and straight. And then we verify, we measure from this happens to be 11 inches off the ground, but just about half the diameter. From that point, half the diameter of the tire, right there, to the center line here. And you can use other points, but I did that. Those are equal. And the distance in the front is a 1/4 inch less than the distance in the back, meaning that we are toe in by 1/4 inch. So now we're perfectly set. So then we have to make sure that those nuts right down there are tight against the tie rod so the tie rod doesn't spin. So you take this, in this case 13 millimeter wrench, hold that tie rod, see the flat spot there? Keep that from spinning, and then tighten these nuts against the tie rod so that way it won't spin in use.